Welcome to On Our Watch, a podcast about coastal erosion and sustainability in Louisiana. My name is Marian Evans. I'm a filmmaker and a producer of the documentary On Our Watch, a feature-length film that examines Louisiana's coastal land loss crisis and the ways in which it impacts our communities, industries, and culture. The film's director, Jonathan Evans, and I are proud to produce this podcast series that will continue to explore issues facing the Louisiana coast through conversations with local residents, community leaders, and experts. In this episode, we're speaking with Darilyn Turner. Darilyn is the executive director for the Zion Travellers Cooperative Center, a faith-based nonprofit and community development corporation that serves the communities of Lower East Plaquemines Parish. And now, our interview with Darilyn Turner. Thank you so much, Darilyn, for talking to me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Of course. So, you are the executive director for the Zion Travellers Cooperative Center here in Plaquemines Parish. Can you tell me about how the center came about and how you got involved?
Okay, so Zion Travellers Cooperative Center was started right after Hurricane Katrina, which was back in 2005. And it was founded by Reverend Tyrone Edwards, who is now our councilman of District 1 on the East Bank side of Plaquemines Parish. Zion Travellers started out as a distribution center after Katrina, to have people come in, get clothing, supplies, because we're at that point, we're rebuilding homes and trying to get back into the community. So it's been a place that we've been here since 2005. And after several years of doing distribution center, Reverend Evans realized that we needed more to give back to the community. So we started the actual cooperative center where you can come in, get on the computers. It was the only place that actually had internet connection at the time. Get on the computers, do applications, do whatever stuff with FEMA, use the telephone. So it became a place where people wanted to come in and actually do stuff where it revolved around getting things submitted for FEMA, insurance companies. And then we realized that we needed more. I moved back in 2007 because back then I was living in northern Louisiana. Moving back, realizing that the center was my home before Katrina. So it was a place that I used to live in, and it became a community building. So I gave it to Reverend Evans. I said, do what you want, because, I hadn't planned on coming back. Came back, Cooperative Center was up and running. I became the office manager back in 2007. And within 2 months, I became the administrative assistant. So Reverend Evans was running things. I'm second in command. We're running things. And then down the line, the center became a place where we needed something more. So the youth aspect of the Cooperative Center was missing. So we needed to add our youth to that because that's our future. So we started an exercise program, green time versus screen time, where the kids were actually coming in doing a lot of greenery stuff. After school program was another thing that we added to that. Just overall connecting kids to the environment was a piece that was actually missing from that. So with that, several years went by. Reverend Evans woke up one morning and decided that I was the executive director for Zion Travellers. No training, no, give you a 2 weeks notice. He just woke up and was like, you're not executive director. I was like, okay. Pretty much jumped into that role, and I've been that since 2012. Okay. And been doing a fantastic job, if I might say so myself. No, I enjoyed it. Basically knew everything because we knew what each other was doing. Like whatever he was doing, I knew whatever I was doing, he knew. So we worked hand in hand. It was more of a partnership and not of you're my boss, I'm your boss. So it worked out very well. And with him being my neighbor, my cousin, my pastor, it all worked out very well. And again, everything we did together. So we knew exactly what, the organization needed, and it's been flourishing ever since. I love it. I love the position that I'm in. I love helping my community. I love making sure that our kids have something to do. So that's been a phenomenal thing at the Cooperative Center. And one of the things that really touched me is that we're able to have a summer program every summer for our kids, through the Zion Travellers Cooperative Center, and the kids love it. And then we hire kids, college kids, to actually run the program and work the program. So it works out perfect.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So you really had to just jump right in.
Jump in, basically. Here you go. No safety net, no life preserver, just go in.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it.
That's it. So it's great. It's been great.
And so what are some of the different services and programs that you all offer for the communities that you serve?
Absolutely. So we are community advocates. Community, we basically whatever the community needs, we're the voice for the community. If we need to go out and stand on the front line and say our community needs to be, we need the same equity that everybody else gets. So whether it's fighting for internet service or making sure that the government understands that we're part of the people as well. We're part of this, Plaquemines Parish. Sometimes we're the forgotten part of the parish. So we got to make sure that we're always recognized and always on the, standing on the forefront. We've definitely focused on community gardening, green time versus screen time, which is the biggest thing for our kids. And that's why we connect the kids to the environment. So they're more so not on, computers all the time, but working within the community, whether it's growing gardens, recycling. Whatever it is they need that we know that takes them away from that screen, it works for us. So I love it. We bring it back the health part of the organization, where people understand that you got to go to the doctor. Eating healthy, drinking water, exercising. We're making that a part of making that a part of our curriculum again, because we kind of got away from that with COVID, but now we have to bring it back again. So that's another thing that we focus on. And of course, we're going to bring back our after-school program, so our kids, be able to use the computers, have internet access. Work together again. Close with one another. So that's my goal, to make sure that we bring our kids back together so they can help each other to progress in educational learning.
Yeah. It sounds like you guys really adaptable to whatever the community needs at the time.
Yeah, I get phone calls, even with me not being on the Plaquemines Parish government side and being on the school board side. I get calls about everything. Like if a ditch is, what can we do? So, I love it because, people can connect to me and I connect to them, and I'm a person that they can trust and know that I'm going, whatever grievances they have, I'm going to make sure it gets to the right person.
Yeah, there's someone you can rely on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very reliable.
And so just to be clear for our audience, what are the communities that you all serve?
So we call ourselves Downtown Phoenix. So it's a part of the East Bank of Plaquemines Parish. So we service from Breakaway to Bohemia. And I'm also, if I'm needed in other communities, I'm there, because I get phone calls about going to Houma, Terrebonne, Baton Rouge, wherever I'm needed, and Zion Travellers can be a voice, we're there.
Yeah. And so I know that another issue that you all advocate for is a healthy wetland system for our coast. And so what does that advocacy work look like for you?
So I just got to be honest. Growing up, I was always afraid of everything outdoors, right? And I grew up in Phoenix. I only know the country life. But people say, are you really from the country? I really am from the country. So I never focus on the importance of making sure that we have proper leverage, right? Making sure that our leverage are at a height where we don't have to sustain flooding, or making sure that we throw stuff in the trash can and not litter, right? So I was always on that stuff, that doesn't affect me. But my daughter was 3 years old, and we were having a little powwow. We were talking about, environment stuff. And she was like, Mom, what if, it floods and it reaches up to our step? What do we do to prevent that from happening? And I didn't have an answer for her, because I wasn't one of those that really, was in tune with the environment. So then I was like, you know what? I got to do something. I got to make sure that this doesn't happen to us. Like, what can we do to prevent that from coming up to our doorstep? So when my 3-year-old daughter told me that, she was paying attention to this kind of stuff, I need to pay attention now, because I need to make sure that when you're 30, you still can come back to downtown Phoenix. So that made me jump into, the environmental stuff. Like, what can we do to protect the wetlands? What can we do to make sure that we're a buffer for hurricanes that come up the mouth of the Mississippi River? What things can we put in place to make sure that, we have proper drinking water, unpolluted air, salt, So what are the things that Darilyn can do to make sure that, she can prevent this stuff? So it made me get into a lot of the environmental stuff that I knew that were very important, minor stuff that really, plays a big part of making sure that we have a safe and, productive environment. So that's why I got into that, because of my child asking me that question, and I didn't have an answer for it. But now I do. Like, now I know that I can tell my grandkids, this is what we need to do to make sure that we have a healthy wetland from here on out, that people are not going to push us out of our community because they feel like, you know what I'm saying, we're not, you know, worthy of being saved. But no, we're part of it, you know what I'm saying, the ecosystem like everybody else. And what can we do to prevent it? It's a lot of things we can do. But we got to start with our government, making sure that they understand that we want to be here.
Right.
So this is why I'm so, you know what I'm saying, gung-ho about the environment.
Yeah, that's very wise at 3 years old.
At 3 years old, and that's still amazing. And I tell that story everywhere I go because that's the reason why I got into it. I didn't have an answer for her, and I always have an answer. But that particular time, I didn't have an answer.
Yeah.
So I needed to find out what could I do, and that's why I poured myself into that work.
And what type of impact have you seen from the disaster response work that you all have been able to do following some of the major storms that we've had?
So I will say on the government side, they haven't been very helpful because a lot of people are like, well, you know, it's a small community. You know what I'm saying? It's not really something we have to really focus on. Like, we've always been put on the back burner. But I will say a lot of our, you know, foundations, other, you know what I'm saying, outside funders have really poured into making sure that our community is always on the forefront. So as far as, you know what I'm saying, giving us money to make sure that we buy stuff to come back with, staying afloat, making sure that we always educating our community, that's been a big help for us. So a lot of these foundations and organizations have been very, very impactful for Zion Travellers Cooperative Center to stay afloat as far as making sure that we are always on top of these disasters. You know, we've been faced with a lot of disasters, and, you know, we're still standing. So it just goes to show that people are, you know what I'm saying, they want to be here, they're resilient, you know what I'm saying, they're committed. So that's what keeps us going. And again, I think whatever the government does, I'm very grateful for, but I do know that we do it on our own. We go out and we get it on our own because we don't wait for the government to come in and do anything for us. We got to get it while, you know what I'm saying, while we can.
Right. And so what type of initiatives were you doing in like post-disaster, post-Hurricane Ida, things like that?
So I will say it's a lot of work, right? Because you're burnt out because, again, you have to move as well as everybody else.
Yeah.
But you have to remember that somebody has to come back and get the ball rolling. So making sure that we have water, food, you know what I'm saying, that stuff that, you know, we don't have a productive grocery store in our area. So we make sure that we go to a local store and get bulks of stuff. So if somebody needs something, we have it. So water being the one thing, tarps being another thing. If it's a, you know, wind damage or something as far as a hurricane, making sure we have tarps, making sure we have tools to cut trees down, you know, trash bags to pick up litter, plywood to board up homes that, you know, that have been, you know, kind of destroyed in these disasters. So just making sure that we have the necessities to come back, you know what I'm saying? We try to provide that to our community. Whether it's gas to put in generators or, you know, cars or hot meals, it's one of the things that we focus on.
So speaking of hot meals and things like that, I know that you're also involved with distributing fresh foods to the communities here.
Yes, ma'am. This was after, I think it was during COVID. It may have been after COVID, where we did it's called a fresh food box. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a company that we partnered with through Ganaf, and I say Ganaf is the best. They were able to give us a grant to actually get some fresh fruits and vegetables and food into our community. The box was absolutely phenomenal, and our people absolutely loved it. And it was literally a meal that they can prepare, and it was healthy. So I really wanted, you know what I'm saying, it was one of the things. And everybody was talking about it, like, how can we get that back, and how can we do that again? And then COVID happened. So a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, we had to kind of like put on the sideline. But that was one of the things I was most proud of, because it wasn't no anything, you know what I'm saying? Most people come in with Second Harvest, and we thank Second Harvest for a lot of things that they did. But that particular box was just so awesome. They had everything that the community needed, and it was healthy, that they can actually go cook it on the spot. I loved it. I loved the fruits were like perfect. So I really commend, you know what I'm saying, that organization for coming through with that, and then having the funding to actually do it for the whole East Bank of Plaquemines Parish. So that was good.
Yeah.
That was a good thing.
That's
yes.
really cool. So how has the saltwater intrusion crisis been affecting the communities here? I wanted to ask, and where do things stand with that now?
So let me start with where it stands, because according to the news I just heard 2 days ago, we're out of the woods, and I don't believe it at all. I think it's more of a, let me just, you know what I'm saying, this is old news to them, but this is fresh to us because it's something that we're dealing with daily. It's crazy because I was looking at my shower head, and I've never had a problem with my shower head, and I've been living here my whole life. I looked at the shower head and it's rusty, and I'm like, okay, if we're not having that problem anymore, why is my shower head rusty? I've never had that problem. I mean, all my years of living here, I never had a rusty shower head. So it made me know that there's a problem with our water, right? So now they're saying, Pontlahatch, Phoenix, you're out the woods. I can't believe that. It's just making me wonder if you're just trying to, brush it off and push it to the side and be like, I'm done with that. So I definitely want to stay on top of it. I've spoken with a lot of organizations, trying to get some people coming out to test the water, independent testing to make sure that, everything is okay. Because they're saying the chlorine levels are fine. But again, it makes me wonder. It does. It makes me wonder. We're not getting any updates from our parish about, and I'm going to say this again, we're not getting any updates from our parish about the saltwater intrusion. This is we're getting it from the news. We're not being told anything about the saltwater intrusion. I'm thankful for the bottled water that was being brought in, but again, the bottled water became a problem because it was filling up our trash cans. So I was tired of just sitting back, people saying there's a problem. So we started a recycling program with Louisiana Recycle, where we're bringing in cans and water bottles. Because again, the water bottles was just overwhelming because there was so many we had to use every day for drinking, cooking, brushing our teeth. We had to use bottled water. So it was so many, maybe 100 bottles of water a day that we were using. And then we had to throw them in the trash can because there was no recycling program for us. But now we have a recycling program, thank God. So we're going to kick that off again and get the word out to the community that now you have a place to bring your recycling, your bottles and your cans.
Yeah.
So but again, that saltwater intrusion thing, again, it's been put on the back burner. And a lot, like it's not being talked about as it once was when it was headed towards Belle Chase and other parts of in other parishes. It became the story blew up.
Yeah.
Like everybody was hearing about the saltwater intrusion.
But you all had
it was happening here since like February.
Yeah.
And people wasn't finding out about it till like June or July. Mm-hmm. But it was happening for like months. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a story. It wasn't a headliner until it was going to Belle Chase and Jefferson and St. Bernard. Whereas, lower part of Plaquemines Parish was dealing with that for months. And nobody thought to help. Nobody thought to send aid. Nobody thought about putting it on the news, letting people know that, it's happening. And now it has died down again because they have fixed the problem on the upper part of Plaquemines Parish, but now it's still happening on the lower part of Plaquemines Parish. And if you notice, there's no water bottle giveaways anymore. There's nobody saying, what can we do to help? Nothing is being done.
So they're saying it's safe, but we're not necessarily rushing out to drink it. Yeah.
No. And I advise people, do not let your guards down.
Right.
Really do not. And again, I'm not saying it's the government's fault. It's nobody's fault because things happen. Mm-hmm. But it's a problem that has happened before. Mm-hmm. This is not the first time. Mm-hmm. And if anybody knows, it wasn't talked about. Nobody knew about saltwater intrusion. Yeah. Like it was my first time hearing about saltwater intrusion until, it started happening. But it's telling me it happened years ago. Yeah. And it wasn't a story. Mm-hmm. But again, once it started going to other parts of different parishes, it blew up. It became this, worldwide story about saltwater intrusion. And I'm like, wait, this has been happening since like February. Yeah. Why is it now such a big story? Why wasn't it a big story back then? And I just felt like, again, we'd forgotten people.
Right, but you don't wait for anyone. You get
No,
get
man,
busy.
we get head first, and we calling people like, are you plumbing? Is the plumbing okay? We have people have hot water heaters, that brand new hot water that went out. The people on the lower part of the parish been dealing with washing their clothes, the water that comes to the refrigerator. I mean, appliances has been breaking down. The water has, caused rashes on kids' bodies. It's caused people, to become ill. So it should have been tested a long time ago and things could have been put in place back then. But again, it didn't happen.
Do you have any hopes or goals for the future in terms of what you'd like to do with the center?
Oh, absolutely. We're hoping, again, like I said, to bring back our after-school program go full throttle again with that, and having the kids come in and have a place for a couple hours after school to do some, additional things. Like we had drama plays, we did, field trips. We took the kids out, to different places where it was going skating or bowling or whatever. So we want to bring that back again. But just having that mentorship program where our older kids are working with our younger kids and making sure that we still dive into our connected kids to the environment, where kids go out and still go back to doing our gardening work and recycling in the community, just sitting down with our elderly, having that one-on-one time with them, bringing the health aspect part of our healthy eating, exercise, and bringing that back. That's my goal, to just come back and start, because like I said, COVID kind of like shut down a lot of stuff, but we still was going strong, but making sure that we're still on the front lines as far as making that our environment is safe. And we know there are a lot of businesses that's coming into the area. We want to make sure that when you come into this area, we know that we are the people that you have to care about. Like, without us, it wouldn't be a you. Without you, it wouldn't be a us. So that we still have that partnership with our local government, with our businesses, that we and continue to, support our educational system. Because that's, again, that, our children are our future. And that's my focus, and making sure that our kids are on a straight and narrow path as always. Because every kid that came to Zion Travellers Cooperative Center graduated from high school and graduated from college. And I'm very proud of that. And I have proof that happened, and I can attest to that. So I'm very thankful for that. And then I continue to be the executive director, but I soon can pass the torch on, years from now to the next person to carry on the name of Zion Travellers Cooperative Center.
Well, thank you so much, Darilyn, for talking to me today.
Thank you for coming to downtown Phoenix.
Of course.
You're probably like, where is that? But yeah, it exists. There's a downtown Phoenix on East Bank side of Plaquemines Parish. And we welcome you anytime.
Thank you for listening to On Our Watch. We hope you enjoyed our discussion with Darilyn Turner. Don't forget to subscribe to On Our Watch on your favorite podcast app to be notified about future episodes. You can also watch a video version of this podcast on YouTube, which you can find a link to in the description. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back with another episode next week. This podcast is made possible through grant funds from the Greater New Orleans Foundation and executive produced by Bruno UK Steiner.